Just finishing off running the Santa Monica stairs. For those of you who follow me regularly, you know I do once a week 18 sets, a set meaning up and down of 189 stairs here in Santa Monica. Today, I am here to talk to you about, do you need rest days? This is a question that in 22 years of teaching, I think no one has asked me ever. And yet, it's a question that I've been asking myself a lot lately for a number of reasons. First of all, I used to, before yoga, consider myself like a total type A person. And since practicing yoga basically every day for the last 22 years, I've garnered a lot of patients, definitely in my practice, also in my life, and definitely a different person than I was before yoga. So I'm marking circles right now because I'm just cooling down from doing the stairs, just FYI. So I used to be this person. I am totally honest. I'm still type A, but I'm type A with like a lot more patience and a lot more forgiving of myself in any challenges that come my way. So that being said, rest days have never been really a thing for me. I feel like I have to practice or work out every single day for a number of reasons. One is compulsion. Let me be honest, like it's just a healthy habit. And two is I know that I always feel better when I work out than I do if I don't. Now, I'm using the word workout lightly. You know that I don't like to use the word workout with yoga. Yoga is a practice, not a workout. But the reason I'm saying workout is because that also includes running the Santa Monica stairs, which I just did, or running, or playing tennis, or hiking, or any of the things. So that being said, I'm 52 and a half years old now. For those of you who follow me, you know that I do some pretty insane stuff with my body. And if I'm to be completely honest, um, I have some injuries, particularly in my shoulders. And not the best thing when you're a handstand expert, right? I can still do 100% of the handstands that I've always done. I still do them every day. And yet, something in me is like, maybe at 52 and a half, it's time to take some rest days, right? To heal up my shoulders or give my shoulders a chance to recover. So I have been researching this, and let me just say a little bit about my like pre-yoga background. Granted, I've been teaching yoga for 22 years now. I stopped going to the gym 22 years ago. So when I say pre yoga Shana, this was a long time ago, but I used to work out on a very rigorous, um, basically bodybuilding schedule. It's not that I was a bodybuilder. It was more that like I was such a fangirl of like the men at the gym. When you live in LA, you know what I mean. That I was like, oh, let me be your student, right? Let me just. So they weren't like trainers. They were just like the guys at the gym. Okay, that's another story. So I was on a very strict training regimen. And for anybody who's ever done like any serious workout schedule, you know that you have to alternate days, right? So what I did back then, of course, there was core every day. This is a little weird, but do you know there are two muscle groups you could work every single day to exhaustion? The first one you'll probably not be surprised to hear is your core muscles. Um, Besides that, you're working them pretty much every day, every minute, every time you're upright, whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, walking, etc. But the other muscle group, I find this a little odd, is your calf muscles. Okay, that's just a piece of trivia. I wasn't doing my calf muscles every day, but I'm just saying. Okay, so back in the day, um, I had a very serious training regimen, which was 3 hours a day, cardio every day, also for at least an hour. But let's say on Monday, I would do all upper body. And Tuesday, you do all lower body, right? To give your upper body the chance to relax and to rebuild. And then Wednesday, I would just do 2 hours of straight hardcore cardio. Like that might be 2 hours of running or spinning plus running or whatever it was. And then Monday, I'm back to upper body. Tuesday, I'm back to lower body, right? So my muscles, I'm working to exhaustion, but they have at least 3 days to recover, right, in between workouts. And I would take weekends off, actually, other than recreational, like say tennis. So if every single bodybuilder on earth has a similar schedule, the optimal schedule, honestly, in my opinion, is 3 days on, 1 day off. But I'll get to that. Um, maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe like they definitely do. So I've been reading a lot of articles lately because as the type A that I don't like to admit that I am, it's been very, very hard for me to reconcile rest days with the practice that I feel like I need to do to maintain, all my handstands and crazy stuff. Well, let's just put it in a quick summary. There isn't a single expert out there who says you shouldn't take rest days. Every single one of them, without exception, says between 1 to 3 rest days a week, which goes back to my concept of 3 days on and 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off, to give everybody, all your muscles a chance to rebuild. Now, if you're not already familiar with how you build lean muscle. Basically, when you work out, you're creating micro tears, right, in your muscles. And as you rest, you recover. And the muscles, as they reform, as you could imagine, the work of coming back together, right, the work of healing those micro tears, sorry, makes you stronger. Okay, there's a metaphor in there too, right? Like we all know that the things that are the hardest for us in life are the things that make us stronger. However, we need recovery. Think about your car, right? You can have the best car on earth. Say, whatever, forget like best meaning best mechanically. You know what I just found out? Okay, this is another weird side note that like Ferraris are only created or built to last about 15,000 miles because they're not like meant to be like driving cars and they break down really quickly. So when I say best car, I mean like a car that will run for a really long time. Let's say like a Toyota, a Hyundai, I don't know, one of those cars that goes for like 500,000 miles. Okay. Um, it's not going to perform the same at 100,000 as it's going to at zero, right? It's not going to perform at 200,000 the same as it's going to do it at zero. And if you put in the 100,000 miles in a week, it's going to break down. I don't care how sound the mechanics are on this car. If you drive it into the ground, it's going to be destroyed. And it's the same with your muscles. If we just work our muscles to exhaustion every day, eventually they are going to break down. You're going to tear them, pull them, dislocate, your bones, all sorts of stuff that's going to happen from excessive wear and tear. Now, the question comes, but what about yoga? I mean, yoga. Okay. So here's the truth. If you're doing like light yoga, and light yoga is completely valid yoga, don't get me wrong. It's not my yoga practice, but let's say you're doing something like yoga with Adrienne or Cassandra on YouTube, and it's just sort of light, easy, feels good yoga. Then that you can actually do every day. In fact, if it's comfortable for you, meaning it's not straining your muscles, you're used to it, you could do that twice every single day. However, if you're doing something, let's say more intense, like my full Monty class or my fuller Monty class, you can find those on my Vimeo channel. That is basically what I do every day, which includes I think more than 30 handstands, different entries, every inversion, every like crazy thing for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, something like that. That's a different story. Why? Because if you're practicing on that level, sorry, there's like cars and stuff coming by. I don't want to get run over. If you're practicing on that level, I am literally I'm working every muscle every day to exhaustion. Now, that's stupid. I'm going to say that out loud. Going back to what I said before about an optimal workout routine, which is 1 to 3 days off a week. And I think, again, in a perfect world, 3 days on, 1 day off, 3 days on, 1 day off. Um, Working every muscle to exhaustion every day is probably going to um, lead to some injuries. Yeah. So I am doing an experiment of starting to take off rest days. I started it last week. So I took off last Wednesday. I took off this Thursday. I felt like a total blob both days, like just like, okay, I'm gonna wake up and not do anything. And yet, oh, thank you. Thank you, Shield. Oh my goodness. Shield Pizza. I hope I pronounced that correctly. You're so sweet. Um, and now I forgot what I was saying. Oh, that honestly for me, it's hard not to practice. I it's so programmed into who I am, especially because even as a child, right? I was a very intense athlete. I was a competitive tennis player in high school. I played, I mean, in summer, I would wake up with the sun and play all the way until the lights went out on the tennis court. I mean, that's how intense I was every day. And so I was programmed at a very early age that exercise, intense exercise, was just what I do. And so right now, I'm in a process of trying to reprogram my mind. And if you're here, thank you for subscribing. If you're here, I would love to hear like, do you take rest days? Because I have to be honest, like I know scientifically we all need them. And at the same time, I know how hard it is mentally sometimes to take that break because we start judging ourselves, or I start judging myself like, oh, well, you know, obviously I can't be as intense a yoga person as I say I am if I'm taking this time off, for example. So I just, I really hope that that this time off is gonna help me. You know, for example, that if you've watched me over the years, you've seen me with a lot of different braces, right? You saw, you know, probably that I tore my meniscus a while back, maybe 8 years ago. And every once in a while, that knee brace will find its way back into one of my videos because it might act up or whatever. But why am I bringing that up? I am not stupid with my body. So, like, for example, today I am on the Santa Monica stairs. I'm not right now, I'm cooling down. And so, um, sorry, please can you put how to get middle splits routine? I do have a middle splits video, long form video. If you look for it, just look for Shana Meyerson middle splits, Upavishta Konasana, and you will find it there. Um, anyway, what I was saying was if I have an injury, if something is like for real hurting me, then I absolutely need to take the day off at least that muscle, right? So, for example, if my knee is giving me a lot of problems, I'm not going to go into like some of my lunges, for example, like maybe like some of my malasanas or pashasana if it's giving me some trouble. Today I'm doing the stairs. I do the stairs once a week, the Santa Monica stairs. It's awesome that some of you have stopped me on the stairs and seen me here. I always love seeing people and saying, hey, yes, I do the concrete ones if you're in Santa Monica, not the wood ones. But when do I do the stairs? I do it once a week, on the day that my shoulders are giving me the most trouble. Does that make sense? Right? So I'm not, I would call it, okay, this is how crazy I am. I would call it my active rest day is taking the Santa Monica stairs because even though it's far more intense than my yoga practice, it's a rest day from my yoga, and my yoga is my primary practice. So that gives my shoulders, right? If I take a day on the stairs, then that gives my shoulders 2 days to heal, right? So also on rest days, because I've had two of them now. I make it a point to either like go in my sauna or take a hot bath or an extra long hot shower, something to give me a little bit of extra nurturing. I might even take a nap. A nap. Talk about recovery. Oh, and by the way, I'll try to remember to put it in the description. But another thing that I've been doing to help me just sort of improve my performance in my workouts and my practices without injuring myself is adding like creatine or amino acids to as my pre-workout. I've been using Jack Factory brand shred, and I really like it a lot. Their pre-workout really helped me to sort of work more efficiently with some of the things that weren't feeling so hot in my body. Okay, so in summation, it's funny because like when I'm on the stairs, I have like all these ideas. I'm like, say this, say this, say this. And I've totally forgotten like most of the things that I wanted to say, but let me just give a brief summary. Do you need rest days? The answer is if you are doing an intensive workout, um, or you're doing very strong, challenging yoga, such as my full Monty or fuller Monty videos, which are the practices that I do every day that really work all your muscles to exhaustion every single day, then yes, you need rest days. I would say, again, in ideal situation, 3 days on, 1 day off. But at least once a week. Okay, that's where I'm at. That's what I got for you. I'd love to hear your thoughts and have an awesome Sunday.